I was working on for it, which is going to be printed in newsprint. I got it to be printed in newsprint, and
Did that cost more?
No, because I'm doing it through Peter Samiti. He literally has a thing on Fund My Comic right now to get a newsprint printer of his own and not have to deal with other places.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, I can't wait.
We should have talked about that on here a month or so ago. Yeah, I agree. Go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt you, Alice.
No worries, but I am super happy about that. So it will be done on newsprint, which will be amazing. This is actually an additional thing I'm going to be giving out to all my backers because I've been running late with it. So I'm giving an additional 4-page story that I'm including, which also has the original cover on the back of it because I'm going to be printing these so I can hand these out. But that's the cover for issue 1.
There we are.
Coming soon in newsprint.
Is that previous one a cover as well? Because
that is a cover. It's the cover for the 4-page preview.
Tell me to shut up, but you're running close to the gutter there.
Yeah.
Well, you need to sort that because the on the last is going to be lost.
Actually,
I think I can see the border there, or the.
Well, look at the bleed. Look at the bleed in the trim line. You're going right through the last.
Hang on 1 second.
You're chopping off Alley Cat's ear, and McGlone is nearly right at the edge.
Yeah, 1 second.
Yep.
I'm always close to the gutter.
Well, know what you mean.
We're talking about the comic, Russ.
Oh, okay.
So this is what it will look like. Oh, you can't see it. God damn it. I have a 3D render of the book of it, what it looks like. Let me see if I can switch the share.
And it works?
Oh, yeah.
If it works, that's fine. I'm just,
Absolutely.
Yeah, let me see if I can get it. Give me 1 second here. I've got to redo it.
Sugar Chris says Russ is wearing a bro or a man's ear.
A what?
Marvin, pretty cool.
It doesn't.
The shirt. What's wrong with everybody? I don't need one.
No,
that's annoying.
You're fine.
It's solid.
You're fine. You just picking on you.
I think Allison's just trying to get more screen time here.
That's exactly what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to get more screen time.
There we are.
It's definitely there, but. Yeah, there's a 3D There's a thing you can do in Clip Studio. If you right-click on one of the pages, you can be like render in 3D, and it takes everything in the book, and it turns it into a what it will look like printed. And then you can go and rotate it around and everything, and look at everything on it. And I went kind of crazy making sure that everything would fit.
Okay, I'll shut up.
This is very cool, Allison. Yep,
it's very nice.
It works.
Okay.
But yeah, that's
also go ahead, Allison. Sorry.
I said that's basically it. Oh, the other cool thing about it is you can actually flip through the comic as you're with the rendering of it. So I went through and I made sure that every page worked. So,
okay. Just trying to help.
Oh no, I appreciate it. Just trust me, I went nuts trying to make sure that everything would work.
Okay.
Also joining us this morning in a rare public appearance, Mr. Charles Santino.
It's about time. Jeez.
Charles, please introduce yourself.
Are you saying I'm long-winded?
I didn't say that.
We all know why it's rare.
I think you demonstrated that. Moving right along. Actually, we all love Allison, and we wish we could give her more time, but we're only on till 11 o'clock. So.
And we're already 21 minutes in and still giving introductions. Yes.
Yeah. So my name is Charles Santino. I've been around a very long time. I was old when Atlantis was young. Speaking of Atlantis, I have a story in the second issue of The Atlantean, which Randy and Russ put together. They invited me to contribute a short piece, which is in here. And if you didn't already have enough reasons to buy this beautiful book, you now have another reason.
Hell yeah.
But I'm best known for Rammer, the Master Thief in a Future Police State. The first issue is behind me. You can get it on Amazon and elsewhere. second issue is also on Amazon and elsewhere. And this is the cover of the long promised and will be published third issue of Rammer, the Master Thief in the Future Police State. It's basically done. I'm just kind of tinkering with lettering and last minute stuff. I think I'm channeling Stanley Kubrick, and but I'm trying to make things come out in fewer than 7 years. So that will come out, and please look for it and look for me online.
Excellent. We may eventually start talking about the Superman book, but in the meantime, Mitch is here. Mitch, how you doing?
I'm doing great. Sorry for the late late arrival, but yeah, I'm doing good.
You're just on time for the end of the introductions. Introduce
Yeah.
yourself, please.
Oh, okay. Hi, I'm Mitch Rogers. I'm a horror comic writer. Yeah, that was Champion. I'm a horror comic writer and artist from Greenville, South Carolina. Creator of the Boger horror comic series and the Flesh and Blood collection.
All right. He said scrolling wildly.
Yeah, and my camera doesn't work, so that's why you just have an avatar of the Boger up.
That's okay.
Fucking damn it.
Finally, the book, Superman, from the 70s to the 30s. That's the
Wait, got more to say.
from the 30s to the 70s.
Okay, Sugar made the joke that I was going to make, but didn't.
Rammer. I barely. All right, let me get rid of my name here. Get into this great book. I've had this book forever, since like the 70s. Hardback book, little bit of molding here, maybe a authentic coffee stain. Perhaps E. Nelson Bridwell introduction. It's from
Bonanza
Books,
books.
New York.
Bonanza.
Copyright
1971.
71. Yep. National Periodical.
So it doesn't cover Superman through the 70s.
In the 70s. Yeah.
To the 70s.
To the 70s.
Up to, but not including the 70s.
Not all the way into, no. But there's there's a couple of stories here from the 70s. 70, 71. This was a small trilogy of books that they did. Superman from the 30s to the 70s, and Batman, and also Shazam. And the Shazam book is incredibly rare. All of a bunch of early Captain Marvel stories. We may look at that sometime soon.
That'd be cool. Early Captain Marvel is really good.
Mm-hmm.
We did a show a couple of years back because I've got a volume of the what is that? The Monster Society of Evil.
Ah,
Of all the Monster Society evil stories that they did in Captain Marvel that was put together.
that's very cool.
Oh, long time ago. It's the same book that DC was going to do about 5-6 years ago, and then decided that there were too many stereotypes in the stories that would be considered offensive, so they canceled all the orders on the book. Just like they were planning on reprinting the first 27 issues of Detective and decided there were too many Asian negative stereotypes in it, so they canceled, instead of reprinting the books for historical importance. It's a little bit in color. Here's Action 1, Superman 1 in color. We've seen those. Those are very iconic.
Yeah, both of those covers are very iconic.
Didn't that cover, hasn't that been redrawn? Didn't he have just a trunk trousers on the original?
On here?
Before he had a costume, when he was just leaping over tall buildings?
Here? No, he always had those. What?
On the one with the car. I'm sure I've seen the cover where he's just got trousers on. He's like a strong man rather than a Superman flying around.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Huh.
you know,
I'll have to
Well,
look
there,
at this.
there probably was something like that before they
Just-
decided to put him into the Muscle Man suit. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised.
but it tells you there at the bottom.
It's already-
It says, look, it says copyright 1938 Detective Comics redrawn or something, recreated in 1965. So,
Oh yeah. Yep. No, it's renewed.
oh,
They went
right,
there and renewed the copyright in 65.
Oh, okay, yeah, okay.
That was before all the other copyright laws shifted. So Superman
Right.
actually goes into public domain in about 9 years, I believe.
Yeah, it's 8-9 years, something like
Yeah,
that.
eight or 9 years.
Is
Yeah.
there nothing they can do about that?
Nothing.
No, I mean Mickey Mouse went into public domain, so
And it's only a particular version too.
Yeah,
Mickey
first
Mouse
year.
isn't totally in public domain, but the Steamboat Willie version of Mickey Mouse is in public
Yep.
domain.
anything,
same
thing.
anything done the first year.
Yeah, the Max Fleischer cartoon, Superman cartoons have been in public domain for decades.
Yeah, that's because they let the copyright lapse on that though.
Yeah.
They didn't.
Yep.
They didn't bother to renew it. That's
And,
not the literary public domain.
Does that
No.
mean that those Superman stories, when they come into public domain, is it like the Robert E. Howard you've been working on? Does that mean that I could do a story about Superman?
Yes.
Yes, as
Right.
long as it only takes into account things that he did in the first year. So,
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or that
Um,
were published during that year. And
Yes.
you have to use this Superman.
Yep.
You'd have to use that S.
Right. Got you.
You'd have to only be able to leap tall buildings in a single bound, and a bursting shell would penetrate his skin. That kind of thing.
So is Superman not an alien in the first comic?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
he
he
is.
No,
is.
he's always an alien.
Right.
That's right from the beginning. I think that's an action one.
Yeah, even before he was a superhero, back when Siegel and Schuster kind of had the idea of like a
Welcome back,
all-powered.
Russ. Go ahead.
Even back when Siegel and Schuster had the idea of like a planet dictator called Superman, he was still an alien.
Yeah,
Right.
Reign of the Superman.
Okay.
Yeah, it was very
Steranko's
Alfred Master-esque.
Steranko's History of Comics points out that all of these main comic characters all have roots in Pulp Fiction. So
Yeah, yeah.
Superman itself comes from a couple of works, and the Man of Steel idea was Man of Bronze from Doc Savage. Doc Savage's first name was Clark,
And he had a
Yep.
fortress
Right.
of solitude.
and he had a Fortress of Solitude. Yep. All sorts of little devices, all taken from the early pulp characters.
I've got those
Shadow
Steranko
goes in public
histories.
domain.
I should read them again. It's 40 years since I looked at them.
Yeah, they are amazing. I think we looked at them at one point, didn't we?
We did, yeah. I think we went
Yeah.
through them, yeah.
Mine are still sitting up here in tatters. Yeah. Here's the origin story. Superman
Wow.
that ran in, I believe, Superman #1. Siegel and Schuster.
Jerome Siegel.
Pretty nice looking reproduction.
Yeah.
That's really nice.
Jerome Siegel, not Jerry Siegel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bro.
The book is sparingly in color. The majority of the work is in black and white. Here's the first Superman story itself.
That's something that's kind of cool. That's in primarily in black and white.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Originally started out as a comic strip. The first couple of weeks, 3 or 4 weeks of comic strip was pitched around to all the syndicates. They all passed because the character was too fantastic.
And
Yeah,
by,
they
the,
also
then,
thought the art was too crude.
Yeah, that too.
by the
It
time
gets better though as it goes along. So it gets
Oh,
a
yeah.
lot tighter.
this issue was published, Siegel and Schuster had already spent the few shekels that they got for
Yeah.
selling. What was it? $250?
Something like that.
150 bucks.
130, 128, I think.
Something
Was-
ridiculous.
Was that each or between them?
No, between them.
Between them.
Yeah.
Now, another thing is that a printing error? Is his symbol being in yellow, or was it yellow?
No, they're probably matching the bad coloring of the day because it jumps. The coloring system back then was never dependable, so it jumps around all over.
So it should be red.
Yes, the interior S here is probably red in future pages. Now it's still yellow here.
I thought
might
on
have been-
Action Comics #1 it was all yellow.
Could
The
be.
cover. I don't know.
Yeah, very likely.
Sadly, it's too late to ask them in person if it
Yeah.
was meant to be yellow or red.
Look at that. That's great, isn't it?
Hell.
Help. Weren't Simons just teenagers when they did this?
Pretty much.
Yeah, Siegel and Schuster. Yeah.
I'm looking at some other scans online, and it's yellow.
Hmm.
Right. So
I'm
it is,
sure the book is as accurate as they can be.
Yeah.
right. So it's correct then. It's not a printing error.
Mm-mm. From my
Have you know-
understanding, go ahead.
So I'm going to say that he's got the same dressing gown as the other guy, or has he got something on his head? He's got a shower cap on his head.
Yep.
That's a nightcap. Yeah.
No, okay, yeah, nightcap, yeah,
So us bald guys wear those to keep our heads warm.
yeah.
I was thinking. Legendary Monkey is in the house. How you doing? Glad you're here. From my understanding, Superman's power set was actually taken from John Carter, including the original explanation for those powers being the gravitational difference between Earth and Krypton. I believe you are right.
No,
That
I
makes
think he's
perfect
right.
sense to me.
That sounds. I think that's right. But
Marvi says, my sister and I had Superman pajamas uniform. I thought that he had his powers from his suit. So to be sure of it, I pushed my sister off the window. Needless to say, I was very disappointed. After that experience, I realized that he was an alien.
And your sister thought you were an alien for doing that. That's what little sisters are for, Marv. Pushing off.
hey,
There you go.
I never did anything like that to my little sister. And I'm technically also a younger sister.
Running out of the color pages into the black and whites here. There'll be more color later.
Why'd they do that? Like
Why'd they do
have only some pages in color and some in black and white.
Well, that was the printing availability to the
Yeah.
book here. There were only certain pages that could be in color.
Oh, okay.
They probably mirror at the back, don't they, Randy, on this with that colour
Yeah.
spread?
Yeah. That's the way it was bound, I think.
The way the page is set up for press.
There's more color coming.
I'll be right back.
Besides, a lot of this stuff nobody's ever seen in black and white. It's pretty cool.
Look at that. It's great, isn't it?
Loves the style here. Once they figure out what they're doing, it takes them a little bit, but love that art style.
What's going on in that panel there?
Which one?
Just right at the top.
Well, faded.
Okay.
If you say so.
Man of Steel.
Woman of Kleenex. Yeah. Anyway.
Man of Wood.
Yeah.
A few minutes later.
Yeah. That night.
Oh, lifted it one hand.
Have you noticed the cars always go the same way?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh. Look at that. I love that panel there. It's shaking it, and they're all falling out on the top right. That's brilliant.
Mhm.
Oh dear, that's great.
They said that the cover for Wiz Comics #1, that the introduction of Captain Marvel, has got him just leisurely tossing a car on purpose as a thumb in their nose at Superman.
Right.
Because by the time Captain Marvel had come out, the Shazam Captain Marvel, Fawcett had already ran through, I think it was 6 or 10 issues of Wonder Man in Wonder Comics, and they got a cease and desist from DC because the character, they said, was too close to Superman. And they had already won the case of Amazing Man with another publisher. So Fawcett had to ditch the character and create something else. So they added some magic and whimsy elements to Superman and did Captain Marvel, Billy Batson.
Okay, so because they couldn't use a character for legal reasons, they created a character closer to Superman.
No, they were intentionally making enough differences so it would hold up in court.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Because the Wonder Man character was Superman. At the time, everybody did an imitation of Superman because Superman sold like nuts. So, but then when they created Billy Batson and added the little whimsical storylines that they did, and then they ended up the character was so successful, they ended up adding Captain Marvel Jr. and Mary Marvel and all these other Marvels to it. And the main villain for Captain Marvel was an evil mad scientist named Dr. Savannah. So they had a mad scientist that had appeared previously in Superman. He was a redhead, so they had him lose his hair and called him Lex Luthor. So they literally fed off of one another, off of each other's popularity. It's pretty fascinating stuff when you get into it. And then Fawcett's amazing. They were such a kind of like a screw you company. They were doing stuff all the time to mess with DC and the other comic.
Fawcett was great
all the time. So that's why when they got Captain Marvel into a serial form right after into the theaters, the first live action hero was Shazam Captain Marvel, that DC went over the edge and started the court filings against them over Superman, or being too close to Superman. They had sent him a cease and desist before World War II started, and they just thumbed their nose at it and kept doing Captain Marvel anyway. Captain Marvel got to be more popular than Superman to the point where it was coming out twice a week or twice a month. Captain Marvel Adventures was. And DC didn't like it then. And then when it hit the theaters, that was it for them. And DC couldn't put Superman into live action because they had sold the rights to the Fleischer Studios. So they did the cartoons that went into the theater, but the first live action superhero was actually
just
Captain
before
Marvel.
you turn the page.
Yeah.
I think, without maligning anybody, every time I think I can't draw, I'm going to look at those telephones on that table in the middle of the page.
Yeah.
Well, that's what they looked like back then.
That's what I was going to say. It's true.
Yeah.
People
they're
had
kinda
tiny.
small,
People had tinier hands.
Yeah.
Well, she's a girl, so the girls tend to have a smaller house.
It's a girl phone. It's a princess phone.
Really, I'm right here.
I like the way the bottom panel where he's whispering by shouting.
Yeah.
Emmanuel.
For anybody who hasn't seen the Fleischer cartoons, you need to go to YouTube after this is over, of course, and take a look at those, because that might be the best representation of Superman ever.
They are
Yeah, the
classic.
Fleischer Studio stuff.
I agree. It is. It did for Superman what Batman the Animated Series did for Batman. It was
Mhm.
amazing.
When did they come out?
Early 40s, and
right,
Early 40s,
some of them
yeah.
have been remastered, and the remastering is amazing.
I think all of them have been remastered at this
Yeah.
point. Yeah.
Yeah,
They're
they
all-
have the
they're
whole
Get
collection
them all
on
on
Tubi.
Yeah. So there was a time there back when, physical media was raging, VHS tapes and CDs and DVDs, that they were real easy to find. They were everywhere. Every cartoon collection had them because they were in public domain.
That's how I saw them the first time was when I was little. They'd sell VHSs in grocery stores.
Mm-hmm.
And my parents, my mom bought for a while, like every time she was out, because they were cheap, would buy like a cartoon collection, with like old Bugs Bunny and stuff like that. And every tape had at least one or two Superman cartoons.
So in the first Superman story, he's got a politician here. I think it's a senator. There where he's hanging him, out there telling him that he's got to do the will of the people. Then he takes him and goes to jump to a nearby building and misses. And it's continued.
A nearby building, it's the capital.
No, don't. It's a miss. Doggone it. So begins the
Brilliant.
startling adventures of the most sensational strip character of all time, Superman. Great stuff.
And
All
then
right,
you're
he
going to
lands.
smash the page.
Yeah.
That'll take the council 6 years to fix. 14 people will break the hip.
Take him 2 years just to draw up the contract to
Yeah.
get it repaired.
And then charge 6 times as much because it's the council.
Yeah.
Result.
Oh, Russ is having a hard time staying with us this morning. Yeah,
Maybe he has his VPN on.
net problems. Yeah. Could be his signals going through Iran this morning. Who knows?
I see what you did there.
You just thrown the guy out the window.
He did.
They tried to shoot him and he said he won't die. And he said, glad I can't say the same for you. And he throws him out the window.
Whoops.
Superman, we're on the 20th floor. Whoops.
Heavens, he
Yeah.
won't die. Glad I can't say the same for you.
So in 2 pages, he's messed up the footpath or the sidewalk, as you'd say, to the tune of $20,000 and 6 years wait. And he's thrown 3 guys out the window. Or 2 guys out the window. What a
Let's
guy.
get the scraper.
Yeah. There is an illustration error on the first page.
Here?
Superman doesn't have his emblem.
Oh,
No,
yeah.
he doesn't.
Yeah, that's probably what inspired Jack Kirby to leave Spider-Man's spider off of his costume.
Yeah. Wow. That's great.
See you later.
So what's he doing? What's he done?
Well-
Why is he
Welcome back, Russ.
back?
Hello.
Hey, Russ.
Hello.
Internet craps.
Get in. Splosh.
Looking at artwork almost 100 years old. Here, it's 38,
Wow.
36.
You're mine.
Schuster.
That bottom
You see
left
now-
looks like a Winston Churchill pose, doesn't it, Russ?
Yeah.
At the bottom
Yeah.
left there.
Here.
If
Sorry, go on.
if he punched someone like that now, he'd splatter them all up against the wall, wouldn't he?
Yeah.
All the fun's been taken out of it.
Mm-hmm. This is back when he was a Superman.
Yeah, Superman rather than a god.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was supposed to be basically like have the strength of 10 men or something like that. So
Like Captain America.
Mm-hmm.
That makes it fun, doesn't it? Because then he can go up against people that can beat him.
This
Oh,
is
God.
really
He'd have to use his brain as well as his brawn.
exactly.
Yeah, I mean he did originally.
Yeah.
This is the era where he became the most popular
Mhm.
in there too, and he just kept evolving over the decades. But he was huge.
Well,
And he
they
just
made
took
him
off.
so powerful they had to invent kryptonite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It wasn't that created in the radio show or something like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, it was.
Just like flying was in the cartoons. It wasn't initially in the comics, but they
Actually,
got tired of animated him. They got tired of animating him landing and jumping.
I think flying was more in the serial because I mean they did show him kind of
could
leaping
be
in the
too. Yeah.
in the
Senior.
Slicer stuff.
In the cartoons, he did fly. I remember that because
Okay.
in the first one, when he was up against the mad scientist, he was flying and hitting the laser rays with his hands, which was really cool
Yeah.
animation.
Oh
Back
yeah,
then.
yeah, he was doing that. That's right.
It's a great cartoon.
Yeah, and audience, we promise we're not going to spend the whole episode talking about the cartoon.
No.
Amazing War Pictures on the bottom.
Yeah.
Amazing, amazing war pictures by Peter Parker.
Get me pictures of Adolf Hitler.
Damn it, Parker! I want pictures of Superman.
Wanted pictures of
What am I
Adolf to
paying
make
you
sure his
for,
mustache
Parker?
was right. Yeah.
Spider-Man was called Superman in one caption, and or Balloon, Balloon, I think, in Spider-Man #3. I think Dr. Octopus called him Superman.
Yeah.
Wow.
Nobody caught it.
Just like that news broadcaster.
And
Yeah.
who's your favorite Marvel Comics hero? Mine is Superman. Remember the motto? With great power comes great responsibility.
Yeah. And then I went to space and captured some ghosts.
But when will I see you again? Who knows?
Great,
Perhaps tomorrow. Perhaps never.
great bit of continuity there in that center section where he's throwing him. That's great.
Ooh, ah.
I'm kind of puzzled where he's grabbing him. I mean, ouch.
I think it was the belt buckle.
Oh, okay.
You're free.
Or he would be frantically screaming.
Yeah. Is it Bobbitt, that guy?
Could be.
Wayne Bobbitt, was it?
Yeah. Definitely not John Holmes.
No.
Pole vault.
Nobody's John Holmes. Even John Holmes isn't John Holmes anymore.
Not anymore, no.
Yeah, I was reading like an or not an autobiography, but a biography of John Holmes, and I think it's funny. When he was dying, he begged his wife to have guards around his casket because he was afraid people would steal his Holmes.
Yeah.
His junk.
Well, he doesn't need it anymore.
That's right. He could donate it to somebody who lost theirs in a car accident.
Bobbitt, he could have donated to Bobbitt.
He had read about
Yeah.
all the problems they had with Einstein's brain. That's what it was.
And JFK's brain.
Yeah.
Look at that. There's a real First World War pilot, that isn't it, with a machine gun on top of the plane.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Let's stuck a couple guys under my arm. There we go.
So didn't they come up with an ingenious system of synchronizing the gun with the propellers so that
Yeah.
that it wouldn't hit the propellers?
That's
Yeah.
right.
Eventually, yes.
Eventually.
Eventually.
Right,
Well,
right,
it
Steve,
only
right.
took a couple times to realize.
Yeah.
that they were-
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
get it. Our planes keep crashing.
Yeah, what's
There's no
what's
bullet
my
holes in them.
assignment today, boss? We'll just take this plane up to 20,000 feet and fire the gun and
See what
It
happens.
works. Yeah.
you've got your parachute.
Yeah, mug.
Look at that ad at the bottom. There was already a Superman newspaper strip.
Yeah. Took off really hard.
I have right here on my shelf. I have a book of the Sundays,
Yeah.
1939 to 1943.
When did the radio? I think the radio drama started up real early as well. Little 15 minutes every day. Monday through Friday.
Siegel Jerry now is not Jerome.
Couldn't afford a real name after he spent that $130.
Yeah.
So or 65.
We're a couple years in at this point. This is from 1940.
If you look at that logo, it's like whoever did it started the S on Monday, then went to do something else, and then put Ooper, and then went home, and then on Wednesday morning came in and did the M, and then got to do something else, and then came back on Thursday to do the AN.
I like how the right hand part of the M and the A are overlapping. Yeah.
Same here with the
And the P and the P is overlapping a little bit.
Yeah.
The kerning isn't quite right. It's touching
No,
here and there's
no.
distance there.
Well, I mean,
Beautifully
they were
done.
teenagers.
Beautifully done by hand. Say what?
Yes.
Well, they were teenagers. They weren't as experienced in lettering as they should have been.
They're also kind of making it up as they went along.
Yeah.
So
They probably had the right attitude.
It's not a sign letterer. Anyway.
They had the right attitude. It was just the comic, and nobody's going to bother. 80
Very
years
true.
later, people are criticizing it.
Yeah.
What issue are we in now?
Is it 3?
I don't think it says.
I think making it up as you go along is great.
Yeah. I think it's 3, isn't it?
It's probably a notation. I have to look at it under the other glasses.
I need glasses for my glasses.
I do.
Yeah, I'm getting to that point. Granted, my vision's pretty much always sucked.
And it
I'm
does
short sighted, but I'm
say-
getting to that point where I'm so old I can use other people's glasses for reading. It's great.
just got cover credits here. So 12, 14, 17, 18, 23, 26. Like a lock combination. Doesn't say exactly where each story was from. Sorry.
It does say at the bottom, it says copyright 1940.
Yeah.
40, yeah. Detective Comics. And then renewed.
So we're past issue 10 of Action Comics. If it's
Yeah.
1940, I'm looking at the grand database here. Issue 14 is still in 1939. So let's go to issue 21. And now we're in February of 1940.
I don't know if they have the date right because they're still numbering the panels here.
So you think we're still in a very early issue?
Oh, I know we are. Yeah. This
Yeah,
is really,
yeah.
really early. Yeah.
Hey, there's
Oh,
Lex
so-
Luthor.
There's Lex Bald, so it's after Captain Marvel started. Yeah.
What's that? Oh, it's supposed to be an early helicopter.
Yeah, it's an auto gyro.
Auto gyro, that's the one.
He made that up.
No,
I've heard of that before.
Okay.
that was a
Maybe.
precursor to a helicopter. It could fly like a plane and had an upper propeller.
First
For,
appearance of Lex Luthor was Action Comics Action Comics number 23.
Okay, that might
Okay,
not
so
be
that-
Lex then.
Yeah.
And so that was 1940. So maybe that copyright is correct.
I don't think it is Lex. I just think it's a
Random bald guy.
bad guy.
Yeah.
Random bald dude. Yeah,
Yeah. All bald people look the same.
Bald evil guy.
bald evil guy. Even
Yeah.
back then.
Don't trust him.
Has Superman been taking some of the shrooms from Star Wars? Because now a tree's talking to him.
Yeah.
Well, it's Clint Eastwood.
I Are you willing to declare a temporary truce? That all depends. Why is the tree talking to me? Could be the shrooms.
I'd really hate to see a doctor trying to test Superman's reflexes. Does that little hammer to the knee thing and then ends up kicked into orbit.
Splattered up against the wall.
Yeah, or it's like, this is the third. I can't give them any vaccines. They keep breaking on the skin.
I bet. Who's that guy who does the Flabberdat feet?
Don
And the
Martin.
really,
Don
the really
Martin.
weird
Yeah.
faces and everything. Yeah, he's
Don
probably
Martin.
done that. He's probably done
Yeah.
a joke on that.
Oh, I'm sure he has. Yeah.
Yeah, test
I
the
think
test the
I
knee
actually read that in Mad
up into
Magazine.
space. Yeah,
Yeah, in I think it was Superman Returns, one of the few Superman movies that shall not be named. Yeah, at the end where he gets kryptonite poison from the kryptonite island, they're trying to put the IV into him, and the needle keeps breaking.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah, never
you
explained.
may
how-
not like that film. You may not like that film, but wait till the latest one comes out and see what you think.
Oh, yeah, true. Let's just say
I've seen it for free.
if it doesn't have Christopher Reeve in it, it's not a good Superman movie.
Oh, that's a
Oh.
serious thing to say. Wow.
I was gonna
Christopher
say,
Reeve was Superman, though. It was the first one. Still holds up pretty well. It's
Yeah.
dated in too many places, but yeah, it still holds up all right.
Yeah, the
I was gonna
second
say,
one too.
the first one's really fun. The second one, I have a serious issue with the plot hole in it.
Second one
Um,
doesn't hold up at all. All of the effects are just terrible in it. The big
Plot
fight
hole
is just
in a
oh my
superhero
God,
film.
horrible.
Never.
Yeah.
And I noticed it when I was 6 years old.
I just watched it a couple years ago. It didn't hold up at all.
And pretty much
the
anything
flopping
after
album
that
cover
doesn't
was a nice
exist.
touch.
So,
Go ahead. Say what?
Sorry, what?
Said the flopping album cover was a nice touch though when they put him in the Phantom Zone.
You're
all
all
of the-
just too hard.
All of the effects are just really
Yeah.
bad.
Well, Superman 1 and 2 were originally supposed to be one movie,
Yeah.
but then they cut out the whole for time reasons. They ended up cutting out the whole General Zod storyline and just saved it for the next movie.
They should have cut out and left it on the floor.
the Donner cut
It's terrible.
didn't do much.
Donna.
Donner Party.
Mm. Donner indeed. All right, sorry, just checking my phone. And I
And
had my
apparently,
phone-
the original version of the Tim Burton Batman movie was supposed to have been 3 hours long and was supposed to have an entire subplot with Harvey Dent.
yeah.
Yeah, it was. And Harvey Dent was played by Lando Calrissian.
Yeah,
Billy
That was
Dee.
second movie?
What?
No. Yeah, you're right.
The 89 Batman film, the
Yeah.
first
Yeah.
Tim Burton Batman.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
second one was the
Yeah.
Penguin, wasn't it?
That Billy
Yeah.
D
Yeah,
in there.
second
Yeah.
one's Penguin and Catwoman.
yeah, and
Billy D. Williams was
apparently-
in it, wasn't he?
Yeah, and apparently the only reason he signed on to the movie to play Harvey Dent was because he knew he'd become Two-Face. And apparently the subplot of his whole character was his descent from the noble DA into the villain Two-Face, and they just completely cut it out.
Yeah.
I just looked. Billy D. Williams is 88.
Mhm.
Damn.
Do you notice something there? Do you notice something?
Hmm.
That Billy D. Williams is obviously not white. Okay.
Yes.
But Two-Face is white.
Yep.
And back then, 89, 90, if they'd have done that, you'd have obviously had the core sort of people who think everything must be done exactly like a comic book who would be upset. But the vast majority of people wouldn't have blinked twice.
Yeah,
Didn't even.
They wouldn't
yeah.
have cared
Yeah.
because it
Didn't even
wasn't
blink an
being
eye.
done
Yep.
for a ridiculous reason.
Yeah.
It was being
Yeah.
done because they got a good actor and chucked him into a part and thought, yeah, this will be fun.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, even
It's-
even the few scenes he was in, he was great.
he was great. Yeah,
Yeah.
I loved him. Yeah, he was
I
great.
was
And if it-
excited with Billy D. Williams when I saw it because I'm like,
Yeah.
it's Lando Calrissian. This is fantastic. I didn't care.
but it's
No.
it's like no one would have cared. No one.
Yeah.
No.
And now it's all done for the completely wrong reasons.
May I
Um,
say something about Billy D. Williams?
Go on,
Sure.
go for it.
He did Colt 45 commercials. Does anybody remember those?
No,
Oh, yeah.
no.
The
I do
tagline was they showed him, every commercial showed him with a gorgeous woman.
It's Billy D. Williams.
Giving her Colt 45, and the tagline was "It works every time."
If you ever want a good laugh, look up the Orson Welles outtakes
Oh my
from
God,
the
I've
Chicken Pain
yes.
commercial.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
Yeah. The peas, the LeSueur peas commercial. Yeah.
Yeah.
Love it.
There's also a video of him in a wine commercial that's just
Yes. Yeah.
awesome. It's-
Where he's obviously sampled the product.
Over and over. Yeah.
Yeah.
The end of the Superman story, there's a one panel ad here for the Spectre. Created by
Siegel and
Seriously?
Schuster.
Yeah, Siegel and Schuster, right?
Jerry Siegel and Bernard Bailey.
Oh,
Bobby.
okay, I was wrong. That's another character that DC has that's great, but they have no idea how to use them.
No, that's all up to the quality of talent that they have on hand at the time, because Spectre has had some phenomenal runs. The Bailey stuff is fun, the real Golden Age early stuff. But there's a run by Michael Fleischer and Jim Aparo.
Yeah.
That was just super classic.
Yes.
And then John Ostrander and Tom Mandrake had the Spectre for about 50 issues, and those
That's the
are
one I
really
was thinking of.
looked at fondly. So
Well, I meant now, like you
Yeah.
don't know what to do with them
Oh.
now.
you wouldn't see that now. No, they have no idea what to do with that character.
They have no idea to do with most things.
Absolutely.
It's just all the same crap all the time.
Still leaping.
Oh dear.
What is he leaping over there?
Chair or something.
What is that?
He's
Chair.
hurtling.
Is it a hurdle?
Yeah, I mean, I would have just ran around it. It's not that wide.
Yeah, this is copywritten in 41. So it's a year
It
later.
is a hurdle.
It is a hurdle.
Oh yeah. It's literally a hurdle.
This is back when he did a lot more domestic fighting, just like what Russ said. This covers
No,
the
this one
30s
is
and the
his
40s.
primary villains were the slumlord down the street
Yeah.
because that's what Siegel and Schuster were dealing with.
He could have just ram around it.
Ah.
He'll be here all week, folks. We won't be, but he will be.
Okay.
Kill him.
Don't you just love the way that amusing the way the women are treated? Like he said at the bottom panel there, so they've got to get back to Lois before she gets suspicious. And she says, "Did you find that fountain pen?" You know. Oh dear.
I like that hat she's wearing. It looks like a Rolling Stones tongue logo.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, it does.
I'm sure that if he
We're
could
not
have
gonna
been,
be allowed
Nick
to
would
see
have been
that.
around it. That top panel, that's a bit moody, isn't it? A bit noir at the top.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah. I actually kind of like that.
yeah. I've got to get out of here.
A lot of nice stylistic touches here.
Is that a sound effect? La-lang.
I thought that was her name. Wait.
Yeah. La-lang.
The Bay City Rollers. Do-lang, do-lang, do-lang.
Bay City Rollers. I don't know that the Americans know what that is.
We know
Yes,
the
we
Bay
do.
City Rollers.
They were,
You know
they
the
were,
Bay City
yeah,
Rollers?
they were big here.
Were they? All
Yeah.
right.
So
Bay
Never mind,
City's-
we're sorry. We're sorry. We didn't mean it.
Bay City's only about 35, 40 minutes north of here.
No, we don't have to apologise for them, Russ, because they were jocks, weren't they?
They were.
It was their revenge. First we got the Beatles, and then we got the Rollers.
First, you got the Beatles, and then you got what?
The Rollers.
Bloody hell! I don't really think they're in the same league, but
Take that.
No, you only have to apologize for Gary Glitter.
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah, true.
Yeah.
I
I saw him.
think, yeah.
I saw him in concert. He was brilliant.
Did he want you to be in his gang?
He didn't want me to be in his gang, no, but he was good.
Hell of a show.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
was a showman, yeah.
Did he happen to borrow your computer by any chance?
No, they didn't have computers then. It was in the 80s. I tell you what he did do. It was really funny. You know when you might have seen Cliff Richard did it as well. So there's a clue.
Lots of
Um,
research.
He did. When you see these people, and they go behind like a veil and they do like a Mr. Universe pose while the music beats. He stood. Gary Glitter came on and he goes behind this screen, so it's like a silhouette, and he's got this pose, the thinker pose, and he's there. But he was there for about 20 minutes before he started singing.
Dear, oh dear.
You had to be
He
there.
did. He did think a lot of himself,
He did, yeah.
but then, yeah, a lot of these people do.
It was a good show. I have to say that. He's not the nicest person around, but he did a good show.
Enter Clark Kent.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
what John Holmes said.
yeah, true.
That was his later years.
Yeah, very conspicuous, changing into Clark Kent on the top of a roof where everyone can see him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
with the prisoner balloon behind his head.
But look at this fantastic lettering here where the O's
Yeah.
are perfectly circular. Look at that.
Yeah.
All done by hand. Just beautifully stylistic there. Fantastic lettering.
They must have got some actually paid a decent letterer by now, because the early stuff's not good, is it?
I don't think anybody got paid decently during this time
Well,
period.
You know what I mean?
Did
Found
Siegel
somebody who
Schuster
liked
have
doing what they
assistants?
were working. Not that I'm aware of.
I don't think they did.
Doesn't mean they didn't. I'm not
Yeah.
aware of any. Yeah.
I know Bob Kane did.
Well, yeah. I mean,
Bob had to have assistants though, because he couldn't do anything. But that was a whole nother matter.
Bob
Apparently.
Kane's greatest creation was Bob Kane.
I heard I read a great story about Bob Kane. I think maybe it was Julius Schwartz played a little gag on him. He brought some art in, and Schwartz said, "This panel with this fist coming at us, yeah. So it doesn't look right. Why don't you go in this room and redraw it just quick?" Oh, he says, no, I need to go home and I need my own art equipment and everything. No, it'll take 2 seconds. Go in this room. So he comes out about a half an hour later, and it looks perfect. And it turns out he paid one of the other DC artists who was on
God.
staff $10
Oh,
to
Wow.
redraw the panel for him.
That was a lot of money at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Sure, half of that was hush money.
All of it was hush
Schwartz,
money.
went around and asked who drew it, and the guy's like, "Yeah, I did it. He paid me $10."
Yeah.
You got to admire his chutzpah.
Oh yeah, he had quite a set.
He was solid chutzpah.
Yeah.
Sorry, I meant to be ignoring the chat. Real happy you're here. Folks, somebody's
it's
chirping
suddenly
back.
very wordy, isn't it? This strip?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look at all those words.
And the lettering's nice. So
Chris
something's
says,
going on.
what's going on with that ad? Shirtless Superman with a bird or something covering his crotch? What's that black down there? Not quite sure what you were talking about. Chris, we might have to go back and look.
Now everybody's got to go back and look at Superman's crotch.
It's a super crotch.
That's right. Super crotch man. I've gone too far.
Here. Oh yeah,
I can't quite see it because Sugar Chris is in the way.
it's got to be it.
Yeah, lift it up a bit.
Oh, sorry.
High, a little higher.
Just a bit higher. A little bit. Oh,
Just get rid of sugar.
There we go. Oh, what is that?
I have questions.
It's
And I
just a
don't want
shadow.
to-
It's just shadow. It's just a shadow of his torso, I guess.
Looks like a bird's wing, though, doesn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it does. Who's playing the drums?
Oh,
Oh,
somebody's
yeah.
microphone.
Sounds like a pigeon.
It's not mine.
I'm gonna mute for a second. Make sure it's not on me.
We'll try mine.
I'm gonna mute.
No.
Still going.
Mitch or Russ. And
Yeah.
Russ is, it's got to be
I'd
Mitch.
been muted. Yeah, I'd been
Yeah.
muted.
Mitch, cut your mic for a second. I just cut him. Yeah.
Yeah, it's Russ. It's yeah, Mitch.
You're going to have to unmute your mic on your end, Mitch.
There's always one, and it's always Mitch.
Yep. So, if you got a Mitch
Now
in the
he's,
group,
now he's dropped out.
But there you go.
Are you still with us, Mitch? There you are. Still there, Mitch? Can you hear us? We can't hear you.
You're probably muted.
No? According to the green room, he's all right.
No, it's
Mitch,
meant
are
not
you
to
there?
stop, but,
Anyway, we'll just keep going. Believe here we're getting into Weisinger here.
Oh, we've suddenly got the real logo now.
Yeah.
Somebody spent some time. I think I'm right. They've got a proper letter on it now because it's
With the,
selling.
I'm sure they drew one up and just photostated it after a while and cut and pasted. So yeah. They probably got tired of the guys trying to draw their own. Chris says, how would Superman get a haircut? Very slowly. He'd have to. I think they showed that by him using his heat vision off of a mirror.
yeah, that's how he
One
would
point.
shave.
Yeah.
I guess it probably worked the same way until he lit his hair on fire.
Marvy says Superman Returns was so dumb. Afternoon, everyone. Matt Black in the house.
I did love the
Matt
plane
Black.
scene in the movie, though. I thought that was cool.
How Lex was
Cool.
supposed to own all that land caused by the missile strike and get billions in the original movie. In return, same thing. Yeah. Well, it's a superhero story. You can't apply logic all the time. I can't get enough of that Sugar Chris. Tank Ferret says. Morning, all. Tank Ferret in the house.
Thanks,
Glad
Eric.
you're here. Genco in the house. Ladies, gentlemen, Genco, hope you're doing all right. Oh, come on. Come on. Matt Black says. Genco says, good morning. Genco and Matt Black. LOL. Tank Ferret. Oh,
Like,
7.
share, subscribe.
Like, share. Hit that bell for notifications, please. Matt Black says, it sounds like Big Chief. He says, send for 3 and 4 pence. We're going to a dance. Okay. Is
That
that
might be
the microphone chopping? Hey, Tank. Sugar Chris says. Here we are. Look at that Titan detail. Is that Mort? At this point, Mort Weisinger coming in?
Yeah, I
Charles,
think
you know.
Certainly
Charles.
changed.
Yeah.
The whole thing has, with the logo and the lettering and everything. It's suddenly becoming something.
it says by Seigel and Schuster, but I don't know.
Max.
Hey, what's up?
Yeah, but those
Morning.
comics based by Stan Lee.
I was
and-
trying. I actually been trying to get
Oh.
Rick Stacy to come on the show this morning, but he was
Oh,
busy.
Oh, that would
And
have
I
been fun.
figured that would have been great for Superman,
Yeah.
but he was busy all morning, so I couldn't get him on.
Matt Black says that joke fell on its arse. I'll get my coat.
I knew what you meant, Matt.
You don't have to get your coat, man. You're fine.
I'll get me coat.
Because Rick's the guy who went around and did all the little models of Metropolis and stuff like that, and actually got Hostess to put ads in the books and everything. So
Yeah.
he's a really cool guy to talk to when it
Oh,
comes
that's
to
cool.
Superman.
That's very cool.
Yeah. Real cool.
But it's Sunday morning, so church and such.
Yep. Absolutely. There's Lois, looking like Lois.
Wearing a croissant on her head.
Yeah.
So does that look like Lois, or does that look more like some sort of 40s femme fatale?
No, that really looks like Lois to me.
That's Lois.
This is copywritten 41. Charles, is this still Schuster, or is this Weisinger coming on? You know?
I think it's Weisinger.
That's a good question. Let's
It's
take-
changed.
Well,
The whole thing is
if we,
changed.
if we knew what issue we were in, that would help.
Well, it's copywritten in 41.
Yeah, let's take a look. Are we in? But are we in Superman or Action right now?
It says Superman, but it could be an action story. I'm not sure. It doesn't say what issue it came from.
It might be a Superman because of the new logo.
Let's see if we can figure this out.
No one will tell you. They're never gonna tell you.
Let's see, Superman.
They're all gonna laugh at you.
There's a lot of Superman series.
Yeah, just a few.
Just a few. Holy cow!
The Light. The villain here is the Light.
The Light.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. That'll help. Superman villain. The Light. That's
It's
not a
1941.
that's not a name that evokes terror. Let's see.
If that is
the light. Oh no, not the light.
if that is Schuster, he got really, really good. The noses are still the same. The little shadows in the negative space for the nose.
That's also an element of the time too.
Yeah.
All right. Let's go to 1941. See what happens.
Ooh, wibbly wobbly.
Okay.
It says that in March 1941, Weisinger moved from Standard Magazine to DC, primarily as editor of Superman and Batman.
Okay.
And it said his earliest job was dreaming up new characters, and then he got drafted in 1942. So,
Let's see. We got in 41. Paul Cassidy was signing as Joe Shuster.
Okay.
Yeah, Paul Cassidy. How about
Could be-
that? Jack
be-
Burnley. Yeah, it could be Paul Cassidy.
I guess
Yeah,
they
it's-
did take on some assistants then, didn't they?
it
Bring
says
their artists.
Weisinger was sole editor of all the Superman titles from 1958. That's way on. Sorry, I read it wrong.
Oh, okay.
That's later, isn't it?
Yeah. Might have the name wrong then.
Here now we have Leo Nowak signing as Joe Shuster.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's definitely somebody else, though. The whole thing has changed.
Yeah. It's gotten a lot tighter, a little bit more stylized here.
Yeah.
So they just signed the Schuster and Siegel, or
Yeah,
it was
it says by those two, but that could be created by those two, couldn't it?
Yeah.
yeah.
I think Mitch is in the back room.
And what's you were just saying about the Batman guy, Bob
Finger.
Kane? His name
Oh,
was all over
Finger.
it, wasn't it?
Yeah.
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 Well, Bill Finger was doing the drawing. Kane was taking the credit. That sounds familiar, doesn't it? A bit later.
Yeah, a little bit.
Mitch, are you there?
Yep. Can
All
you hear
right.
me?
Sorry. Yep. Didn't mean to leave you in the green room. Thanks.
I was banging on the door. I was looking in
Yeah.
the window all sad. And
It
Allison
could be
had to tell me you were there.
it could be Jack Burnley as well, because I just switched over to Action Comics in 1941,
Uh-huh.
and we got Jack Burnley signing as Joe Shuster.
It's the guy in an old style radiation suit.
I'm just surprised that they would allow people to sign as someone else back then. I mean, if it
They didn't
wasn't
give
you,
hardly anybody. They didn't give hardly anybody credit on these stories
No.
back then. Just Siegel and Schuster were the first. So and then Kane was a big egotist, so he insisted his name go with the logo.
well, he also went behind Bill Finger's back and copyrighted it under his
Yeah.
own name.
That too.
Did he? Oh,
Mhm.
What a bastard.
Was
yeah.
not a friendly guy.
No, there's a great documentary on Hulu called Batman and Bill that goes over that whole story.
Yeah, it's very good. I think it's on Hulu.
Yeah.
Genco says apologies to Tank Ferret. Step away for a coffee refill. Yeah. Okay.
I'm just surprised that, I mean, the change in just the way things are done over the last couple generations. They were signing Schuster back then when it wasn't Schuster doing it. And nowadays, I mean, if you don't sign who you are, people flip out.
Yeah. Lots of changing times.
Well, yeah.
And it took them until the late 70s, I think, in order for that to get back.
Wasn't there an
They dropped
artist
it off of
recent?
that
Wasn't
logo
there
for
an
a while.
artist recently who was posing anonymous or with a pseudonym, with an Asian pseudonym?
Yeah,
That was the editor in chief of Marvel, and he lied and said because you couldn't get paid and draw and write at the same time at Marvel, so he made a fake Asian pseudonym so he could write and get paid.
Yep. No, he went as Kira something, and that was CJ or whatever.
CB Cebulski.
Yep.
Now I don't know how much trouble he got into, but I did hear about that happening.
There was a fandom kerfluffle, but he didn't get in any real trouble that I know of. He's still up there. He's still
Still there, isn't he?
running shotgun
there,
over Marvel, still
eating.
driving it into the ground. Yeah.
Someone's gonna drive it into the ground, I guess.
It's a hard job. Someone's got to do it.
PBR
Actually, no, it's not a
deep-
hard job at all.
PBR asks the deep philosophical question: why does Lois have dog poop on her head? I believe that was the hat of the day.
Safety.
Safety too. Yeah.
It's a FEMA requirement.
Always safe from sexual attack if you have a dog poop on your head.
Monica's grandfather kept insisting that cow dung was the cure for baldness. For me, he kept telling me to run out there and get some out of the field. Put it on my
I'd
head.
rather go bald, to be honest, as you can see.
Yeah.
If you
told him no thanks.
did that, you'd been on this shithead, wouldn't you?
Exactly.
That's funny.
Trying to get you, Randy. They're trying to get you.
I know. That's the loving in-laws. Though I do have to say, Monica's grandfather lived to be 106. So
Wow.
Yeah, but he wasn't
I'll
eating
do-
it though, was he? He was putting it on his head for baldness.
Yeah,
All
that's,
because of the
that's what it
countdown
is.
on his head.
Putting it on his head for
That's why,
baldness.
that's why I live
Eat shit,
forever.
Grandad.
Eat shit, Grandad. Yeah, I will.
Yeah, I wonder how many people fell for that, and he's just in the background laughing his ass off.
I'm sure
Oh,
that's
look at
what it
that
was.
80-year-old
Yep.
doing it. I got him to do it. It's funny.
Yeah, had lots of bets all around town. I bet I can get some dog shit on his head.
Just watch.
Thinking's
I'm
getting
gonna tell you.
sharper here,
Oh yeah, most for sure.
not tighter.
I mean, especially that right page,
That
panel
car.
4.
Here.
Yeah.
And then that on the right hand page, the second panel, we're getting a bit of perspective in it as well with the buildings there. Other
Yeah.
side, yeah.
Yeah.
It's definitely not. What's his face? Schuster.
Yeah, I got in an argument with my son a while back, and I was like, "No, man, Superman used to be able to just jump over buildings. He wasn't able to fly." He's like, "Superman's always been able to fly." I'm like, no, he just used to be able to jump over tall buildings. It even says so
Yeah, they
in the
told-
intro.
a little bit.
At the start of all the cartoons, yeah,
Yeah.
Younglings.
and the radio program.
Then he finally realized I was right because he did his research. And he was like, "Wow, I thought Superman always flew." And I'm like, "Nope."
Hey, the Phantom.
Here, yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
nice perspective though. Look at that.
Did Superman ever cross over with the Phantom?
I don't think so. I think it
No.
just looks like him.
Two different companies.
Well, I knew that, but I mean, they always do that. Two companies
That was long before that.
crossovers and
Yeah. This was long before that.
change the cover.
I'd love to have a go at the Phantom.
One of those real big. There's probably a lot of that stuff already in public domain. 29.
Phantom isn't.
Have to go back and
think-
look.
The Phantom is still being run, isn't it?
Yeah, but there's anything
It's a-
that's
It's a strip.
run while the printed stuff is in public domain is wide open.
Said
I'm not sure.
Yeah,
shadows Years.
I don't think I'd get away with it. How's that?
Yeah, public domain scares the hell out of me because I'm always like, I'll do something cool, and then it'll come back and be like, well, technically it's not public domain because of X, and I'm like, oh, I just spent all that money making this book.
Yeah, you have to be very careful. I mean, we've trod lightly with Cull,
Yeah.
but we've been explicit about it being based in the Shadow Kingdom, and of course
Yeah.
nobody can argue with that.
What's the next Cull story to come into the public domain?
There will be none for quite a while because the two main Cull stories, the crossover with Bran McMorn was done in 1930, and there was a poem I think that mentions Cull of Atlantis that was out in 31 or 32, and that's all the stuff that was published of Cull back during that period. All the rest of the Cull stories were uncovered in Howard's archives after he died and not
Okay.
printed until the 60s. Some of them not even completed and printed until the late 60s.
Yeah, but don't you have to have like active copyright? Like you actually have to do something with the thing you copyrighted in order for it to be considered still actively copywritten.
There is a difference between copyright claims and trademarks.
Yeah, trademark. You have to, before you can trademark something, it has to be in the
Researched.
yeah, well, yeah, and it has to be being used. You
Yeah.
can't trademark something
That's new.
because you're going to use it. You
Yeah.
have to be already using it.
Yeah, that's why a lot of these companies are doing reboots and remakes is to keep hold of the copyrights.
Mm-hmm.
because someone was telling me that you had to have something called an active copyright. And like if you didn't do anything with it for 20, 25 years, then your copyright would just kind of
It
die
used
off.
to be.
Yes.
It used to be 28 years. That was a
Yes,
long time
used to
ago,
be.
though.
Yep.
Yeah.
Now it's 95.
Yeah.
Thanks,
95 from the printed. When it was printed plus 95 years, then it's in public domain.
Disney. And that's Disney that did that, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's the farthest they could go because they wouldn't go a full 100. Sonny Bono was a big proponent of that copyright laws because he was trying to protect his songs. And, Disney was fighting to keep Mickey Mouse because they knew it was going to go into public domain, but there's only so much that they can, prevent and stop. That's why Disney went through and did a whole series of cartoons about 10 or so years ago using that old style Mickey Mouse
Mhm.
to protect themselves from that on that copyright. Some of those
Look,
cartoons
Steamboat
were
Willie
really,
still exists.
yeah. Some of
If you
those
look-
cartoons that they did during that run are really funny too. They're really well done, and it's they've got like the macaroni arms and the macaroni legs, no knees, no elbows, just
Yeah,
curved
the
lines.
bouncing,
Yeah.
bouncing.
Yeah.
Rubber hose.
Mm,
Oh,
macaroni.
Yeah, I think the technical term's like rubber
Spaghetti.
tube animation or something
Yeah.
like that. Or
Rubber
Yeah,
hose.
Rubber
Rubber
hose.
hose. Yep.
The bullets, they glanced off you like peas, because you'd be better off with a pea shooter at that.
Look at the drawing to the left of it, where it's like the artist forgot to put the gun on. He just squeezed it in.
There we go.
With his super muscular arm.
It's got the leg up. It's tucked in a boot, in a trunk. I wanted for a chance.
is that
Yeah.
Jimmy?
Is that Jimmy Olsen?
Unknown to Lois, yeah, Jimmy the office boy. It's not Jimmy
Wow.
Olsen, it's Jimmy the office boy.
When
We love you, Jimmy.
when he was 12.
For some reason, I always thought he was a photographer the whole time.
Yeah, I thought he was. Yeah.
I started off as
well,
a copy boy. Yeah.
Yeah, when I grew up, I always thought Jimmy Olsen was a photographer too.
Yeah.
Well, there are definitely comics with him taking shots.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They might have changed it later on to he's the photographer.
When he got older. Yeah. They aged him.
Once Spider-Man got popular, they probably thought, "Oh, let's make Jimmy like Peter Parker."
I think.
Well, that
I
and
think Peter
they
Parker was supposed to be like a Jimmy Olsen type character. So,
yes.
the, so him as a photographer might have came before Spider-Man.
Yeah, I think I don't know, but I think they wanted to expand his character, and he couldn't do that working in the office, being an office boy. So they sent him on assignment with Lois Lane a few times, I seem to remember. And then he was a photographer. He had a camera with him.
That
There
and
you
they probably wanted to age him up because he started his own, or they had him in his own book for years and
Yeah.
years.
Yeah.
And he was Superman's pal,
Jimmy
Jimmy
Olsen.
Olsen.
Do you know? Do you know why he and Lois were given their own
He was like
books?
12 years old.
Oh, why? Tell us,
Because
Charles.
of the TV show.
There you go.
They got so popular because of the TV show. First, they gave Lois her own tryout and showcase, and she quickly got her own book, and then Jimmy, and that was all because of that TV show.
Jimmy always looked like he was like 12 years old, no matter what.
That TV show, the reruns were my first exposure to Superman.
I used to
There you
love
go.
those reruns.
They were great.
Yeah, I've always
George-
wondered if
George, what's his face was
George
mine.
Reeve.
Yeah, he was my first exposure to Superman.
George Reeves, excuse me, plural.
Yeah,
Yeah, I always wondered about like Jimmy Olsen. Does he like, take advantage of his friendship with Superman? Like he meets a girl or something, and he's like,
I know
I'm friends with
Superman.
Superman.
You want to meet Superman?
I can hook you up.
I could hook you up with little super Jimmy Olsen. Little Jimmy.
Yeah, then she
You want to
looks
meet
at
little
him,
Jimmy?
Oh
Yeah,
god.
then she looks at him and goes, "You know, if you knew Captain Marvel, maybe there'd be a chance."
Right.
What's that on your head? Oh, that's Jimmy's hat.
What's that on your head? It's dog shit.
There you go.
I'm scared shitless of going bald.
The bullet bouncing off his chest reminds me of the first Superman film where he catches the bullet in his hand. Watching the scene
Yeah.
as a child was amazing. Yeah.
Oh yeah, where they're being mugged in the alleyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which one was it? It was one of the new ones that was really bad.
Which one?
But
That narrows it down.
they're all pretty bad. They were all pretty bad. But I mean, I think it was Henry Cavill, and he got shot in the eyeball, and it just
No,
looked
that
awesome.
was
that was Superman Returns.
Yeah,
That was
Brandon Routh.
Brandon Routh, whatever.
That just looked amazing. How the bullet deformed when it hit him in the eye and stuff. I was like, that is cool.
It did look cool.
And the rest
The,
of the movie was kind of like meh.
I like the was Brian Singer was talking about that scene. He's just like, oh yeah, how bulletproof is he? It's like, let's shoot him in the eye.
Just
Yeah,
before
I
you
like
turn
that.
over, Charles, you were saying about that 28-year renewal. Well, there's the evidence of it on the bottom there. 1942
Oh, yeah.
renewed, 1969, 27 years. So that'll be to do with that, won't it?
Yeah.
That and it also denotes how long it's asleep.
Yeah. It's a
27.
great drawing, by the way, that isn't it? That splash.
Works
Really
real
great.
well.
I like that.
Yeah, the Superman title logo's done better than back in the early
Yeah.
years too.
Yeah. Just, I don't know the answer to this, so I'm going to ask a question. Could it be this new art team? Because I'm convinced there's a new art team on this. Could that be because Simon and Schuster were always, Siegel and Schuster were always selling the copyrights, weren't they? So did DC finally get it in 1942 and then thought that team wasn't good enough? The original team wasn't good enough.
No, they ended up buying the rights to Superman from them at the
immediately.
First sale.
Yes, yeah.
Right.
First sale of it. And they got drafted, and that actually was like the excuse they used to start like changing things up with Superman.
Right, got you. So DC basically always owned it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, they considered it as soon as they signed the check, it became theirs.
But
Yeah,
didn't they keep giving them money later, every 15 years or something?
Oh no, it was when the movie came out and Neil Adams
Right.
campaigned for them, and I think they ended up getting a pension of $25,000 a year.
So if they sold it in 1939, 38, 39 for $130
Mhm.
and then worked on it for maybe a year or so, and then they got nothing for what, 30 years?
Yep.
Is that right?
Well,
Yeah.
they did work. They did work as freelancers for DC for quite some time, and part of the reason that there's other teams on this is because they were pumping out so much stuff, and so much Superman stuff and other characters that they were creating, that they needed other people to ghost for them. But they still worked for DC for quite some time.
So they were earning money.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Right.
But it
Not
was
much.
freelance. It was all freelance by
Yeah.
the page money. Yeah.
Yeah, has he started flying here?
I think so.
Just
Judging by that.
to clarify what we said, did they always work as a team?
No, because Jerry wrote a lot of stuff solo. And
Right.
Jerry created the Spectre with Bernard Bailey and ran that through More Fun Comics for years.
So they didn't work together later, or they did both.
They did both.
Right, got it.
Later, they went that once they after the war in that late 40s, I think it was. They tried a couple of times to do original
Combined
material.
stuff,
Nothing
yeah.
really caught on. They
Yeah.
did a
And
couple
nothing-
issues of a
nothing
character called
hooked.
Funny Man,
Which ain't funny.
which wasn't funny. Yeah.
So were DC sort of shamed into giving them money?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
I
I
had 'em.
mean, I don't
And-
know
and
if
you-
it was
you can-
shamed or if it was more along the lines of you owe them.
No,
You
it was
know.
shamed. And Neil
That was
Neil Adams campaigned on their behalf and got it into the newspapers, and DC was so shamed and embarrassed that they had to do something.
Howard
the guys
Hughes
were
made him
really
look bad.
Pretty
really,
close
they-
to homeless and destitute at that point too.
Yeah, one of
Yeah.
them was blind.
Yeah.
but
Straight.
DC didn't really owe them any money because they had done a deal.
No, they didn't
Yeah.
owe them. They didn't owe them anything.
No.
Right. Okay.
But when the movie was announced and coming out, and everybody realized, wait a minute, this is going to be a multi-million-dollar movie, and the guys who created this character are getting nothing.
And that was back when, like
Late 70s.
Yeah,
70s.
multi-million
Well,
dollars.
While it was comics, nobody
back then
gave a
was
shit.
lot.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Nobody cared while it was comics, because comics have been downtrodden and played as not an art form for years and years and years and years. And that's why nobody gave a shit.
Yeah.
Still are.
There's
But as soon,
there's an
as, soon as
info
you've got the
dump.
same deal with the MCU at the moment, or what have you, people screaming, "Oh, I did this, I did that. Why haven't I got money?" And it's just because the big money turned up.
Yeah.
You know, it's either you're in it or you're not. I'm really very mixed on this whole thing, because I do appreciate that while the movies aren't involved, it's very easy to say, "Oh well, I'll just work for hire," and you just do your job. You do what you get, and that's the end of it. And there isn't any claim to what you did because you've got paid for it.
Yeah.
However, once it moves into multi-billion-dollar or multi-million or multi-billion, depending on what decade you're in, movies, then as much as I believe that, you know, work for hire and that's the end of it, it's being used for a different purpose now.
Well, part of the
And so you should get paid for that different purpose, because
Part
it
of the
has
problem-
different benefits and it has different budgets. So
Well,
you
yeah.
should get paid for it.
But as I'm saying, part of the problem is that when they created contracts back in the 70s, in the early 80s and the 60s, they never really put anything about future ways of visualizing the material.
Yeah, 'cause they
No,
never
no,
thought any of
yeah,
this
but
would
of
carry
course-
over. Yeah.
Of course they didn't, because they weren't giving the medium the
Yeah,
respect
well,
that it was due,
there
and
was
neither
no
did the general
DVDs.
public.
There was no DVDs. There was no VHS. They weren't really concerned about that at the time.
No.
Then now
No.
they've actually added that in the contract.
But
saying,
that's what
"Hey,
I'm saying. At the time, it didn't matter because there was no such thing. There was that market was never going to be used for the genre of
Yeah,
the,
there was
the
no
medium
home
of
market.
comic books. Okay, there was no market, so it's okay. It's just it's work for hire. But as soon as you change that, as soon as you change the output, as soon as you change the place where that's going to be used, then that contract no more. It doesn't work anymore.
But that already happened. I mean, that happened very early. Obviously, with Superman, there were, there was the serial, the radio. Steve Ditko left Spider-Man because he was promised
Royalties from the TV stuff.
profit sharing,
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden there was trading cards and cartoons, and Ditko said that's it. I'm out of here. He was promised profit sharing by Martin Goodman.
It's like the kiss of comic books, man. Superman's everywhere. He's got alarm clocks and blankets and.
But if you think about it, you can't really. I'm with Russ. I can see both sides of this. They sold the copyrights because it was worthless. Basically, they got $130 for it, right? In 1939, right?
Mhm.
But there wasn't. TV was just coming in. There was film, but there was no DVDs, VHS, merchandising,
Right.
none of that stuff. So they signed away their rights.
Mhm.
Now, I want to ask a question here. Now, one of you might know. How do musicians go on? I know they get they're on vinyl, Now then on CD. Do they get a royalty now from streaming?
They do get royalties.
Yeah,
from
but it's
streaming,
like
but
they
it's
get
like
they get a penny for
so
every
tiny.
million streams.
Yeah, it is so
That's
tiny.
why.
It is ridiculous.
Yeah, that's why a lot of newer artists are just putting their own stuff out because they don't have to deal with the record companies, the
that
agents, and all that.
That's why you go and you say, "Oh, I'd like to go see Dream Theater because they're one of my favorite bands," and their tickets are $400.
Oh,
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
they're not $35 anymore. They're
'Cause it's
$400.
the only way they can make money.
Yeah, it's the only
Yeah,
thing they got control over anymore.
Back
Yeah.
in the day, they used to tour to promote and sell the
Yeah.
album.
But you
now
can't blame.
now they tour to make
Well-
money, and
they
the
use
and
the
the
album
album the album
It's the
itself is,
advertisement.
the album
Yeah.
itself is merchandise.
The album's
You
the
can't-
advertisement to get them to come to the concert.
Go ahead, Glenn.
It's okay. Carry on. It's okay.
It's just going to point out this major info dump here.
Yeah.
So much so that they had to, move Clark down to the corner.
Looks like some Alan Moore writing
That
there.
looks like an EC panel,
Yeah,
Looks
I was
like
gonna say.
even with the art style.
Yeah.
Looks like a guy off this island Earth.
Dump.
I always wondered if Alan Moore just filled up as much of the panel as he possibly could just to cover up the artwork. You know, especially in Swamp Thing.
But he was providing the writers with layouts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like when you read his Swamp Things, like half of the panel is cut, and like the top half will be like just like voiceover stuff, and then the bottom half is the art, and the panels are so small that you're just kind of like, all right, what am I looking at here?
I think
Yeah.
you're also seeing more with those Swamp Things. He's coming out right at the end of that period where a lot of these writers were overwriting comics anyway. You go through some of those old Marvel books and they are super wordy, especially Don McGregor on Black Panther and Kill Raven. He wrote prose on the majority of those books, and it took up a lot of space.
Show don't tell.
Yeah.
I
It's
had
a lot
a
different than nowadays. Go
I
ahead.
had a
Charles.
professor that used to call that, "Look, Mom, I'm writing."
Yeah. Yep. It's like we were looking through some P. Craig Russell stuff that was mostly all writing. Very the lettering on it overpowered the illustration. Look at that.
Look at that floating head at the top.
Yeah.
Yay, floating heads.
You'd have to put his arm as if he was leaning on the desk or something, wouldn't you?
Superman in 8 heads in a duffel
It
bag.
almost looks like Harvey Kurtzman style.
Yeah,
That face
it does. Yeah.
from his early EC science fiction stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great hand at the
So-
bottom.
When we were talking about last week, Randy.
Mm-hmm.
So when did they start doing the Superman face changes?
What face changes?
You mean
Well,
to
they were-
Kirby?
Yeah, when they
Oh,
were
in the
cutting
70s.
his- when
Yeah,
they were
70s,
cutting his- cutting his face out and doing all the changes.
That was the 70s.
Yeah, they didn't like the way Kirby drew his Superman.
faces.
Yeah. And the irony is that they brought, when they first talked to Kirby trying to get him over going to DC from Marvel, they offered him Superman initially. And he said no, he didn't want to take work from anybody. So Jimmy Olsen didn't have a regular artist, so they gave him Jimmy Olsen. The irony is that they tried to lure him by offering him Superman, but they didn't like the way he drew his face.
Yeah.
They also changed the Jimmy Olsen face, didn't they?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Blinking idiots.
One that
But
did it.
Kirby-
Oh yeah, blinking
Sure,
idiots is putting it mildly. Yeah.
But
Wayne-
Murphy
Wayne, I
Anderson,
think Wa-
inked,
I think-
Kurt Swan, Superman was so iconic at that point.
Yeah.
I'm sure that's
good.
why they decided to do it.
yeah,
'cause
and I think it
wasn't
was
Kurt
Al
Swan doing
Plastino.
faces?
Al Plastino's
I
work.
think it was Al
Oh, it was Al
Plastino
Plastino.
that was redrawing the faces.
Okay,
Yeah.
thought it was Swan.
I'm gonna look that up.
could be
I
wrong.
believe it was not Swan.
It was Plastino.
Did you look
Okay.
it up, or
No,
did
I
you
just-
know?
I just know.
You know,
Yeah,
All right.
yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah,
Is that a real name? Plastino.
Al
Yes.
Plastino. Yeah, yeah.
I have an art book by him. We should take a look at.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That'd be cool.
it was one of
Okay,
those
what-
you just had to get because the illustrations were really cool in it. So
Yeah, you wanted me to leave Marvel, and you don't like the way I drew Superman's face.
He used the character really well, though. It didn't let him expand on it, did they? When Superman had his doubts, and he was looking for God, wasn't he? And he ended up with Darkseid.
Yeah. Well, those Jimmy Olsen's they're fun.
Yeah, they're good.
The
Yeah,
ones that Kirby did.
all of
the
those
first-
Jimmy Olsen's during that period, though, the only way you could describe them is wacky.
Wacky. Oh yeah. Yeah, they put Don Rickles in there.
Yeah,
I'm fairly certain that Kirby never met an exclamation point he didn't love.
Or 3.
Superboy, The Adventures of Superman when he was a boy. How Clark Kent met Lois Lane. This is 48.
They met as kids. I didn't know that.
So that was Lana.
Lana
Oh.
Lang.
Yeah.
When he was in Smallville. Yeah.
Yeah, I was about to say is it sounds like the show Smallville where they all knew each other growing up for some reason.
Yeah.
that bottom panel there where she says, "Golly, he's so unexciting," should say, "Face it, Tiger, you hit the jackpot."
Yeah.
He's so unexciting. Said by no woman at any time.
Nope.
They have better words to describe somebody they don't like.
Yep.
Dweeb might be one of them.
Maybe when I was in like
Creeper.
Jeez, Creeper's
Creeper,
one of
that's always the good one. Always
Creeper.
Creeper, like from Scooby Doo.
She's a bit arrogant, isn't she? I'll win
Yeah.
naturally, she says.
A
Any
bit.
girl is superior to a boy.
That's right. Don't you forget it.
Catching up on the chat, Matt Black says Henry Cavill's brother was my brother's CO in the Royal Marines.
Oh, that's cool. Did he play Warhammer too?
Say what?
I said, did he play Warhammer too? Because
I don't know.
Henry Cavill played Warhammer since the time he was 10. They were doing an interview with him, and this
Yeah.
girl's like, "What do you guys geek out on?" And Henry Cavill's like, "Oh, easy, Warhammer 40K since I was 10." And the other guy that did the interview, he's like, "Oh, I'm getting ready to play the Necrons my next go around." And Henry Cavill's like, "Oh, I'm playing these. We should get together and play." And they're like, yeah. And they start going all nerdy on it. And this lady's looking at them like, oh my God, they really are nerdy about this stuff.
Cavill's a huge
Yeah.
geek.
Yeah. Big,
Oh, yeah.
Big
He
time.
did a stream where he was trying to set up his gaming PC.
Yeah.
It hurt to watch, but it was so funny.
It was. Very entertaining, though.
He's a really cool guy. I like him
Yeah.
a lot.
I mean, he
Matt,
wasn't.
Matt, go ahead.
Okay, go ahead.
After you, Mitch. I'm just reading the chat. Go ahead.
He wasn't a bad Superman. It's just the movies he was in were bad.
Yes.
Yeah, the scripts were not very good.
Didn't Superman leap tall buildings in his early years? We answered that already. So if he leapt tall buildings, was he still leaping and just falling with style? Yeah.
Yes, he was.
Or did he start flying later on? They flew him, like we said, in the cartoon and the TV show because it was easier to do than to show him constantly landing and jumping. Which means, how old was he before he found out he could fly? Well, he just started flying. That Byrne dismissed all of that as him just getting more yellow sun.
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
Adams said in one interview that he got nothing from Havoc being on X-Men, but got a nice check from DC for Ra Al Ghul, I believe, for being in the Arrow TV show. Oh yeah.
Wow.
DC is much better about that sort of thing. Again, talk about shame.
Yeah.
Marvel was shamed into giving Jim Starlin money for Thanos.
I
Yeah.
know, Sam.
Yeah.
From what I understand, that was actually because of Bill Mantelow's estate, because Bill is still in a convalescent center and was being treated badly and should have gotten royalties for Rocket Raccoon.
Hmm.
And they finally went through and changed their royalty system in order to make sure that Mantelow was comfortable.
Yeah, he was
It's
dying
kinda-
at the time, wasn't
Kind of shamed into that. I think he's still alive, isn't he?
Yeah, they didn't do anything for the guy that
Still
did
alive and
Ghost Rider, though, did they?
Oh no,
Well,
they ran him square into the ground.
Yeah.
So his lawyers, he ticked off their lawyers, and they just decided to completely ruin him. Yeah.
he? Who?
Michael, not Fleischer.
Gary Friedrich, wasn't it?
Friedrich.
Oh.
Yeah.
Bastards.
Swamp Thing as a child was one of my favorite comics. Yep. Swamp. Yeah. When did Superman get his Lycra suit? Not sure.
Lois
I-
made it for him.
I was told Superman lost a bet with Chuck Norris, which is why he wears his underpants on the outside. There you
Well,
go.
I mean, everyone does know that when Superman goes to bed, he puts on Chuck Norris pajamas.
Yeah.
Oh, he played Warhammer. Ha ha. Matt Black says, I think we're all geeks in some shape or form. That's very true. Matt Black.
Just to
We're up
scare
early on
everyone
a
away.
Sunday morning talking about comic books.
There
yes,
we are.
we're
Yeah.
all geeks.
More great stuff here. Foamy soap ad. It's a little looser. Look at that head.
It's probably a different artist.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. Draws high foreheads in general, it looks like, on guys. Boom, boom. Up here too.
Oh, it's Peter Parker.
Yeah.
We receding hairlines. Yeah.
People in the 40s had bigger foreheads.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That explains it all.
Yeah, they also talk faster too.
Yeah,
And-
see?
Right. And before they said anything, they said the word say.
Say.
What are you kids doing here?
And now they say, people say, so, don't they?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, and you also knew who was a criminal because they are the only people wearing pinstripe suits.
Yes.
Yeah, you could always tell who the criminal on like Law and Order was because it'd be like Christina Applegate's like so co-starring. It's like, well, she's the criminal. You know, anyone named, they're the bad guy.
That was Murder, She Wrote. You're thinking of there. Yeah.
Well, they did that too in that,
All of
but
them
I
do it.
mean,
Yeah, Columbo also.
Columbo. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, well, you knew who the killer was at the beginning. It was just how
Yeah,
Columbo
Columbo
figured
was
it out.
different.
yeah. Columbo was always.
It had its
They
own
always told
USP.
you. They always kind of told you from the get go, and then
Yeah.
Showed
It
you
showed
how
how
he
he
got
figured it
it.
out. Yeah.
yeah.
Well,
So we
it's,
got Lois tied up. How are we going to kill her? Well, let's tie her to a chair and have her run in by a wrecking ball. Yeah,
Yeah.
let's do that. That'll be cool.
you know, that's
Is it
that's
Katy
definitely
Perry?
clever.
Not too complicated.
No.
Yeah,
Was it
well,
Katy
Hey,
Perry
that
who
that
had the
Lois,
wrecking-
that Lois on the left in the middle there looks like Lee Elias drew her. No, in the middle. Yeah, right there.
It does.
yeah, we're using the James Bond school of removing the
Yes.
The cat.
in the most complicated way possible.
Yeah, so like in what was it the first Austin Powers movie where Scotty Evil's like, let's just shoot him. I got a gun in my room. I'll just put it out and shoot him. And Dr. Evil was like, why would I do that?
Little bit of shh. I got a whole bag of shh for you here.
Sharks with lasers on their head.
Lasers.
How hard
Quite
is
possibly,
it to get freaking sharks with freaking laser beams on their freaking heads?
quite possibly the best films ever made.
Except for the third one. The third one was kind of meh.
What with Fat Bastard in?
That was,
That was
the second one.
and
had
the third one.
Is that-
Yeah, both of them.
Well, I think he was in the third
Oh,
one too. but
Is
yeah,
that your
definitely.
baby? I love a little baby. Oh,
Get
Some
in my
really-
belly.
get in my belly, baby.
Interesting angle here to get back to Superboy.
No, no. We love Fat Bastard. There's some thick old lines going on.
Even Superboy knows it's useless to argue with a girl.
Yeah,
There you go.
just don't bother. You're always going to lose.
Folks, we're real glad that you're with us today. Hit that like button. Oh my goodness, we are over 2 hours.
We
Oh
are.
my God.
We are.
We've
Holy
been
crap.
having so much fun.
I guess so.
We even talked about Superman.
But it took
Yeah.
us a half hour to get into get through the introductions. So
Finally, a colored
Well, in
page. Yay.
right
Well,
in
that's
time
a
for us
great
to
stopping
stop.
point.
It's 42 here. We didn't even get through the 40s, folks. We still got we're about a quarter of the way through the book. We'll call it there. Nice angles, though. Whoever's drawing this is really challenging themselves and trying to do some dynamic stuff with this story.
Oh yeah, I
It's been
mean,
kinda
it's,
fun.
it's looking really good especially for something that's what 80 years old.
I'd rather read this stuff than today's Superman comics.
Angles here,
Shit, it wouldn't.
perspective. Just really nicely done.
I mean, the foreshortening's good. The perspective's good.
It's a little crazy, but it works.
Yeah,
It's
this
all
book
good.
this book can be had for cheap, by the way.
Can it?
Yeah, oh yeah, on eBay.
I haven't looked for it on eBay.
Yeah,
What are they asking?
between 10 and 20 with shipping.
Wow.
Good
there you
Lord.
go.
That's nothing.
Yeah,
That panel where it, from the odd angle where it's running there, looks like a Neil Adams kind of layout, doesn't it?
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm not sure who did this story, but they're really good, especially for the time period. They're awesome. They're dynamics and they're challenging. The odd perspectives and camera angles. Pretty sweet.
Sweet.
Yep. We'll pick up with Lois Daydreaming next week.
Oh yeah.
Just before you go, look at behind the logo. It looks like a "Riddle Me This," doesn't it, from Batman?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's full of questions.
Yeah, I still like in the Superman movie. After they Superman takes her on like the flying tour or whatever. Clark shows up, and then like you can see the wheels in her head turning. Then she kind of shrugs it off. It's nah, it can't be.
Yeah. Yeah. This goes, are we covering Superman right up to present day? No, we're covering the book Superman from the 30s to the 70s.
No, we're covering the good stuff.
So we're going to fall short by about half a decade.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's a great book anyway. There's that doctor trying to vaccinate.
There he is with his trousers on, lifting the car up.
Try again, Doc. Yeah. Yeah.
Rawr.
Did you see the trade paperback for the Dread movie with Carl Urban that came out?
Mm-mm.
It
No.
was actually it was done really well. I was impressed.
Cool.
Should check
Like
it
a
out
graphic
sometime.
novel adaptation of the
Of
movie.
the movie, yeah.
Yeah,
No, I
no, I didn't. No,
Sis-
the movie is
Yeah.
great.
Oh, it was
Yeah.
fantastic. I mean, people keep telling me that they're like, oh, they're going to come out with a TV show with Carl Urban as Dredd on Amazon. I'm like, until I see something official from Amazon, I don't
Yeah.
believe you.
Yeah,
Because
they've
I
had-
know that DNA, Alliance, and Lionsgate all have veto rights to make a sequel. And they've all been, at one point in time, have vetoed the sequel. Because it was supposed to be Judge Anderson and Judge Dredd versus Judge Death.
And the
That's what
sequel,
the
yeah.
sequel, yeah,
Yeah.
that's what the
Yeah.
sequel is going to be.
Oh, they're going to have a hard time making that good.
Yeah, they are. It's an authentic coffee stain down here instead of a shadow right there. Just so you know. Anyway,
Coffee.
Superman from the 30s to the 70s, folks. We'll pick up where we left off next week.
Hell yeah.
Make sure you hit that like or love button out there, whatever platform you're watching us on. Subscribe. Hit that bell for notifications. We don't have nearly enough eyes on this show as we would like. So if you enjoyed this program, make sure you tell your friends,
Love.
especially if they're into comics. We love looking at this stuff, no matter how old or how dependent or independent it is. We look at a wide variety of material, and we are archived over at the Comic Book Black Belt YouTube channel, the Randy Zim YouTube channel, and most especially over at the Indie Comics Network YouTube channel.
It's also
And we
on
have-
the Alison McGlone channel.
There we are. Yes.
Well, you
There
see,
as well.
now we were talking about Superman's face with what Ditko doing Superman's face, and I'm looking at this picture here. Superman's face just does not look right.
No.
So
Looks like Superman to me.
I mean, it looks like Superman, but it just doesn't look.
It's later that doesn't look right because this is the first drawing of him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I know what you mean, but not the one we used to.
Folks, again, we deeply appreciate you stopping by. Matt Black's as well. Cheapest chips probably cost the same again in shipping through, though, to the UK. No, Matt Black would probably cost twice or three times as much. Russ, did you ever get that box?
Yes, thank you. I was going to
Good.
say afterwards.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure. I sent
Yes, I
Russ
got
the
the box.
package, and the postage was twice as valuable as the comics that were in.
Yeah, I was gonna say only
You didn't have to send me all that stuff.
Only
Yes, I did.
$197 shipping.
I promised you all that stuff. So it's like, okay, here we are. And then that's the smallest box I could find. So I filled it up with Flint Comics papers.
You
for
certainly did. Yes,
I mean, we did.
Well, I hope you enjoy them. That's all.
I do. I did great. Yes,
We did a
but
fulfillment.
there's only one
on-
person to blame for that postage price.
We did a fulfillment on one of our books, and every Kickstarter we have the Atrocity Press catch up, which is basically like just everything we've done, right? And you can get them physically. And some guy from Lithuania ordered it, and it ended up costing like $197 to ship it to him.
Wow.
And I was like,
He was keen.
wow.
You could have bought a one-way plane ticket for that.
I know.
Oh, got
Just
it,
like
yeah.
dropped it off at his house. I mean, here you go, boss.
Yeah.
Walk back.
Mitch, tell folks how they can find you.
Well, you can find me online at Celtic Cross or Linktree / Celtic Cross Studios. I'm currently going through the original Boger series and remastering the artwork. I'm adding color spots to it and changing a lot of the cringy ass dialogue that late teens, early 20s Mitch thought was badass and cool.
And it's badass and cool, man. Come on.
thanks.
You know, don't sell yourself short.
Well, my writing's gotten a lot better since then. So.
Of course, but you know, don't
yeah,
sell yourself short on something that you wrote 20, 30 years ago.
You're marking time every time you get something printed. That's
cool.
Sometimes you just have to let it go. Yeah.
Yeah, and the first issue will be well, Well, it's done. I just have to put it online. That should be by Friday. I'm thinking of a Friday release for the first issue. And eventually I'll do a crowdfunding campaign for a collection with extra material that won't be in the webcomic installments. So keep an eye out for those things.
All right. Max, tell folks how they can find you.
You can find me on Facebook at Max DeVille. Currently, our website, Atrocity Comics, is being rebuilt because the host decided that they were going to charge me $90 every 3 months, and I was like,
Good
nope,
God.
not doing that. That's way too much for a website. So I switched over to a different host, and we're rebuilding that site. It'll probably be done in a couple of weeks. But right now, if you want to get in touch with me, you can just find me as Max DeVille on Facebook, or just look up at Mary Machine Gun on X, and you will find us. And we've got an Instagram as well. It's Atrocity Press. We've got a few thousand followers there.
Okay.
So,
Look for him there.
but we
folks.
really don't use Instagram that much. I don't, at least. I mean, I don't know if Johnny does, but I sure as hell don't.
All right, Charles, tell folks how they can find you.
Well, it's a really good question. What I think I'm going to do here, instead of just saying, go look for me, I'm going to go to Facebook right here, and I'm going to see what they've got here as my handle. So let's see what it says. Charles.Santino.77 for some reason. That's Facebook. Here we are on Instagram. Let's see what I am. I'm at Charles Santino on Instagram. And let's go over to X. What am I there? I'm Charles Santino 6 on Instagram. But if you go on Amazon and you type Rammur, Rammur, you will find me and my boy Rammur, Master Thief in a Future Police State. First issue behind me. Second issue right there on Amazon and elsewhere. Long promised third issue cover coming. Here we get all the elements of Rammur: the robots, the gold, the heist.
I do
and
gotta
the
say,
girl.
Charles,
Yes.
Rammur, I bought it. I don't know, probably maybe a year or two ago or something like that when it first came out. Excuse me. And I wasn't expecting it to be as good as it was.
Why not?
Yeah, I mean, just because it was a guy who was the master thief. I figured it'd be just kind of derivative of a lot of things, but really,
It is derivative of a lot of things, but I've hidden that so well that you can't tell.
What's that saying? Oh, ye of little faith.
Well, you know what? If you contact me directly and give me your address, I will email you. I will snail mail you an actual Early Adopters Fan Club sticker.
Sweet.
So anybody who has purchased Rammur, I will get this. I'll put it in real mail, which costs a fortune, even just to send a stupid little sticker.
Yes. All right, Allison.
$19 shipping.
Allison, tell folks how they can find you.
Well, you can find me here on Sundays hanging out with these fine gentlemen. And I say that with a straight face.
And Mr. Santino.
And Mr.
Yeah, I was looking around.
Yeah. Hey, I said something nice last week. Then I made a joke about it. Then people yelled at me for making a joke about it. All the stuff that I go through.
You deserve it. You're a girl.
It's exactly it. It's because I'm a girl. And
It's a man's world. It's a man's world. There was a very famous song about it.
Yeah, I've heard that. Just remember, girls are better.
Well, now you can find Allie in the tattoo parlor, man. She's getting hooked. She's got that
This
tattoo.
is 2 years old now.
I thought you spilled ink on it.
Hooked up.
Yes, that's
I mean, it's an addiction.
Yep, it's 2 years old. But yeah, the what was it? Yeah, you can find me on all the social media stuff. I avoid the porno one X, so other than that,
But not
really
OnlyFans.
there. Find me as Alison McClone or Alley Cat.
I've never seen porn on X. I'm obviously doing the wrong things.
Right?
That's about all I
Now you know.
follow on.
I don't see any of this shit on X.
It's not over there at all.
What's going on?
Yep. Oh, Matt
know-
Black Heyman. Yeah, girls know nothing. Quickly runs away.
The
very
only,
wise
the
of
only
you.
thing I
Master
ever see on
is
X
saying
is
that,
I see
my
some
master
pictures.
participation talking to you about that.
The only thing I ever see on X is I see some comic book stuff and then a bunch of thirst traps. That's it. That's all X is for me.
I don't know.
I don't know if
it
it's my
smells too musky.
algorithm or what, but
Musky, did you say? Smells
Smells
too
too musky.
musky.
It's like
Hey, musky.
like a skunk or a ferrets. They're all part of the musky group.
little boring company.
They're using my using some of my wonderful minor in biology. So,
Joke's on you, bitch. I love this shit.
when I draw comics and stuff, get interrupted by Nita.
By
And
Nita.
everybody else.
Everybody else, yeah.
Yeah. So everybody else can go, and I'll just talk over them.
Yeah.
We're
you
glad
do
you're
it.
here.
Just get louder. Just be louder than the last
I can
one.
get very loud if I need to.
Oh,
Russ, tell folks how they can find you, please. Unless Allison still has more to go. Do you
So Allison was about to make a sexual joke, but we're going to skip it. So
just remember we have kids in the house.
They're not kids anymore.
Hello, motherfucker.
we have kids in the house, so we played that.
Russ, tell folks how they can find you.
Mikey, he
Oh,
really
well,
fucking likes it.
It'd be helpful if I had a cam, but because I reset everything, I don't.
It'll be
So
us.
there you go.
It'll
Yeah, I'm
be
There
us
he is.
trying.
Hey, right. Nice and easy. You can find me at rustleach.com. Rustleach.com. There you go. Rustleach.com. And sign up for the email list there. And you can get everything you need Atlantean. There is an Atlantean web address, and there will be a new Atlantean website very soon. But in the meantime, just go to rustleach.com, sign up for that email list, and we'll keep you up to date with everything the Atlantean. We've got issue 3, issue 2's out there. You can go get that on Amazon, Critical Blast, Barnes & Noble, whatever. And issue 3 is on the way. There's issues being worked on at the moment in Denmark. The Brazil issues are still going on. Issue 2 and 3 is going to get launched together. So they're waiting for our third campaign to finish. So, it's all going on. Sign up to the email list over at rustleach.com.
All right. Glenn, tell folks how they can find you.
right. Well,
Hey,
the risk.
iHeartRadio.com.
Anyway, if you want to read any one of my million words in print, go to Amazon, go to New Haven Press, and just put my name in Google and you'll find something. But all my 12 books are on Amazon, lots of magazines on there, lots of stuff like that. But also, speaking of the little stickers that Charles is sending out, what you really need is one of these from my magazine, right? Because there's only 12 of these in existence. So if anybody wants one, they're going to be expensive.
crikey, only 12.
I'm not sure why you'd want one, but there you go. But get that off eBay and everywhere. You'll get one of these. That's it. You found me everywhere. Just these programs. I've lost my track. So let's get out of here quick.
Another 20 minutes to end the show. See what
Down
I
to
did
you,
there?
Randy. Where's Randy gone? Is he
Randy's just disappeared. He's
gone
gone.
home? Right.
No,
Come
I had to
Fair
answer
enough.
the phone. I had to answer the phone.
Yep.
Sorry.
Like the
When the
story.
wife calls, you have to answer. And then she's like going, "You're still on the air." Anyway,
What's
He's on
wrong
top.
with you, you silly old bastard? Get
it's
off.
11:30. Yeah, I'm still on the air. Anyway, folks, I've been your host, Randy Zimmerman. You can find me at Arrow Comics, Atlantean, as Russ said. Go to russleach.com for more information on that. Sign up for the mailing list. Atlantean 3 is well in production. I am scripting Atlantean 4 as we speak, and just into the first scene. I've got it plotted out and working on it now. It's going to be great. Real happy about it. Can't wait to get 3 into your hands and hope that you enjoy it. And again, Amazon, barnesandnoble.com, any place where books are sold through the Ingram system, as well as criticalblast.com. You can find it over there. We have ran late. I hope you've stuck with us. Thank you so much for sticking by. We know the majority of our viewers are after the fact, and we deeply appreciate you as well. Please hit that like button. Leave us a comment if there's anything that you want us to look over. We look over all sorts of stuff. If it's comics or sequential art, we want to take a look at it, especially from people that we admire, that inspire us. And again, we're archived over at the Comic Book Black Belt YouTube channel, the Randy Zim YouTube channel, Allison's, Facebook?
It's on my YouTube and Twitch.
On YouTube and Twitch. You're on my Facebook as soon as we're done, and I can make it public. It'll be there for a couple of months until Facebook decides to erase it, as well as the Indie Comics Network, folks. Go over there and check us out there. We do 2 of these programs a week. Comics by Night on Friday morning at 5 a.m., where we look at the same type of stuff. This Friday, I'm not quite sure what we're going to look at, but probably Gil Kane covers. Gil Kane comic covers. Hopefully we can do that. If I can cut some time and pull a bunch of examples off, we'll take a good look at those. Then stop back by next week, next Sunday Funnies, and we'll continue our look at Superman from the 30s to the 70s. Lots more great stuff to come. Deeply appreciate you being here. Go visit your local retailer. If you want more information on Peter Simeti's campaign, fundmycomic.com. In fact, go over there and check out all of those campaigns. Peter's campaign has hit his initial goals, so he's definitely buying into a newsprint printer. And by contributing to that campaign, you are actually reserving space on the press for your book. So go over there and take a good look at the campaign, understand what it's all about. Peter is really a stickler for quality when it comes to newsprint printing. Can't recommend that campaign enough, especially if you want to print your independent comics. There
we go.
Yeah, there we are. Peter's been printing Alterna comics for many, many years, and he is really a stickler when it comes to good printing. So he's decided to get a printer on his own and get it rolling and offer people spaces and print your own books at a very inexpensive rate.
He's a stand-up guy as well. You can trust him.
He is. He's a good guy.
He's a really nice guy.
Folks, again, we deeply appreciate you being here. Go visit your local retailer when you can. They need all the help that they can get to help keep their lights on, especially with the crazy distribution and lack of quality problems that modern comics are currently experiencing. Look at those boxes that are close to the floor, those old black and white magazines. You never know when you're going to run across a golden book like this. That's well worth your time and well worth the cost. So go over there and spend a little time with your local comic shop, your local retailer, and enjoy that and take a good look at their backstock. So other than that, folks, we'll see you on the next one. Deeply appreciate you being here. Thanks again for stopping by. Fundmycomic.com, Arrow Comics. Look for Allie on Indie Comics Network. Look for the Boger and Rammer, as well as Machine Gun Mary over at AP, right?
Yeah, I mean, Atrocity Press is where it's at now. I mean, it's not really at Antarctic Press anymore.
All right.
Since the Diamond whole thing, once that Diamond thing kicked off, they kind of dropped all their
own stuff.
Own stuff, and they're bringing it back, but it's taking them time, you know.
All right, folks, again, thanks for sticking with us. We'll see you on the next one. Take care, everybody.
Peace.
Hasta la vista.
Oh, we have a word of the day. Here we are.
Mexican word of the day, wicked. With the blazing sun, wicked Cocoa Krispies. What color of skin tone do you get?
In the time before Atlantis sank, when the lands of this world were savage and untamed, one man would claim his destiny, seizing his place as a king. After defending his throne and learning the devastating truth of the Serpent Kingdom and its deadly cults, King Kull and his right hand, Brule the Spear Slayer, make a solemn vow to hunt down and destroy the hidden empire of these serpent demons. These are the tales of those journeys. This is the Atlantean. Tales inspired by the brilliance of Robert E. Howard, featuring his first barbarian characters as introduced in the pages of his classic tale, The Shadow Kingdom. Each volume contains beautifully painted covers and around 50 pages of original black and white art and story, featuring classic sword and sorcery adventures you don't want to miss. Join us on these epic adventures and sign up now for news with the email list at russleach.com. Bring your axe and prepare for battle.
Nice beaver.
Thank you. I just had it stuffed.
Let me help you with that.
Fuck off, you fat pig. Hello?
Hello.
Bitch.
No.
What the fuck? Shit. God damn it. I fuck you. What the fuck? Oh, fuck.
Oh, shit.
Oh, shit. Don't fuck around. He just fuck around all the time.
Taste the biscuit. Taste the goodness of the biscuit.